I need to stop fucking saying the same word all the time. Ahead of the London derby between Saracens and Harlequins, we've come to train with England international Maro Itoje. Maro puts through a number of rugby training drills and also sat down to chat with us about the podcasts he's listening to, current affairs, and also his 3 dream dinner guests. So how are you managing the transition back from international rugby into club rugby?
It's been fine, and I've been on the sidelines for a long time, so I'm only really starting to get back into rugby training now, so it's all been swell.
How do you see the weekend's London derby against Harlequins going?
They're a top team and they've improved immeasurably under Guzzi. They're doing really well, but I think we're also a very good team, and if we play well, I think we'll win. I think it'll be a physical game, it'll be a niggly game. It's always a niggly game when we play against Quins, but it will be definitely a good one to watch. Toughest opponent, individual. It's always, for me, it's always those really quick guys who you can't quite get a hold of. I'm not too sure if I played him this year, but Pietau, he's always a handful.
You studied politics at uni and you're still a keen follower of current affairs, so do you back a people's vote on Brexit?
I have a big interest in politics, and it's what's going on now. It's both fascinating and crazy. Individually, I probably would like a people's vote, but for my own selfish reasons. But I think that would be quite divisive. So I actually don't really think it's going to happen. But if it was to happen, I'll be all for it.
And could you see yourself moving into sort of a political career after maybe you hang the boots up?
Well, at this stage, I don't really see myself trying to run for public office. I don't really see that's what my life vision is at the moment. But you know, all these things are subject to change.
Yeah. You've obviously quite vocal on social media as well about being big into books, big into podcasts. What podcasts are you listening to at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm listening to quite a few. My sister actually just started a podcast, which I listened to. She started it with her friend Radhika. Let me make sure I get the name right. I think it's on SoundCloud at the moment. Yeah. I think it's called Screaming in a Black Mini or something, Mini Cooper, something like that, which was very interesting. But generally, I like political podcasts. I like social science podcasts that talk about social issues, etc. I listened to the one by Edo Lodge about race. There was one I listened to James O'Brien. He started a new one.
And in terms of sort of like social political thinking and stuff like that, obviously Ellis Gen just came with some quite kind of groundbreaking in how he said that rugby was kind of informed by there's still a kind of bias towards you know public schools and stuff like that. Is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the article, but I think if you look at a lot of the England age grade teams, the best players normally play for the best schools. So and that's partly because they're the most recognised, and some of them approach young talent, but it's also because maybe we haven't found ways of reaching out and getting those players who play for their local club instead of playing for the big public school down the road, or the Etons, the Tunbridge, the Wellingtons, the Harrows of this world. So if you look at selection and for those age grade teams, it's often a lot of them congregate from the same sort of schools. And not to say that there isn't a reach out more wider. If you're a good player at those schools, you have more of a chance of succeeding than if you're a good player at a state school which don't really offer a program. So I think there's definitely ways in which I think as a sport we can try and make sure people don't fall out under the net, and we include as much people as possible to try and make sure that we don't let these talented individuals go. I think we have quite an active community program here at Saracens. I think our foundation has won numerous awards for the work they do within within the local community. I think we're the only rugby club potentially in the world to have our own school, and the school is in Graham Park, which is a deprived area of North London. It wasn't set up in the plush hills of Highgate or anything like that. Saracens are always actively trying to create a better environment for the people of the community. I think you also see that through our stadium, Allianz Park. We have we accommodate several different types of people who are whether they're suffering from autism or whether there's a disability fund, etc., etc. So we have quite a far-reaching program here.
And lastly, dream dinner guests, dead or alive. You've got 3 names. Who are they?
That's a very, very interesting question. I'll pick Malcolm X. I would pick Muhammad Ali, and I have to pick JJ Okocha in there just with my Nigerian brother. So I'll pick JJ in there as well.
Love that. Cheers, mate.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much. Awesome.